Hello, everyone. This is Mr. King. I hope that you are doing well. I, for one, am really excited to be learning together again. To that end, I've created some optional, ungraded learning experiences for this week. Let me stress that again. These are optional and they are ungraded, but I am hoping that you will choose to learn with us together. I think this is a really exciting opportunity for us all to learn in a different way and to take advantage of this opportunity to do some things that we wouldn't normally do. I hope you're excited about the things that I've created for you. I'll be posting these learning opportunities every Monday, and I'll be doing that for the entire time here that we're home. And I imagine that we're going to be home for a little while yet. Um, some weeks I may even post some collaborative learning opportunities. I may do some video discussion boards, video lessons, that kind of stuff. But for now, let me show you where you can find what we'll be doing together and what I have for you to do for this week. All right, so this is your Schoology page, and you'll see here at the top optional COVID-19 at home coursework. If you go there, I'll be having a folder for each week. When you get in there, you'll notice a location for your learning opportunities and then a discussion board. I'll have at least these two things every week. In the discussion board is where I want you to post all the work that you do and all the different creations that you make for any of the learning opportunities that I post for you. And any questions that you have, any issues you're having with any of the resources that I create for you, please go ahead and toss it in there too. I'll be keeping an eye on these discussion boards. I also want this to be a place where if you have any questions about anything that you need from me, that you can please feel free to post them in here. And you'll also see in here that I do put a place for my email address. So if you need to get in touch with me, you can feel free to send me an email as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Learning Opportunities page. On the Learning Opportunities page, each week I'm going to have the big idea question for the week. What am I asking you to think about? This week, I'm asking you to think about how can I make the mundane extraordinary? I get the feeling that as we're sitting here at home, to this point, we've been home for a couple of weeks, and we may be getting to the point where some things are feeling a little mundane. How can you make the mundane extraordinary? So I've created two activities for you. You can feel free to do one or the other, or both if you like, or you can choose to do neither. It's up to you, but I'm hoping that you will choose to learn with us a little bit this week. For number one, as engineers, we're often tasked with making the complex more accessible and reliable. This week, I'm asking you to do the opposite. Um, Rube Goldberg was a cartoonist many, many years ago, and he designed cartoons that showed very complex ways to do very simple tasks. And Rube Goldberg machines have been doing the complex in the very simple in very complex ways for many years. I love Rube Goldberg machines. They're one of my favorite things. I've probably shown you guys Rube Goldberg machines over the years. Rube Goldberg machines have become a whole category of invention. There are even competitions every year. I've linked you to 3 YouTube videos of some of my favorites. You can feel free to Google Rube Goldberg machines to see what they look like. The idea with a Rube Goldberg machine is to take a simple task and make it as complicated and difficult, time consuming as possible. Rube Goldberg machines often include marbles and magnets and sequences, one thing hitting another thing, making something else happen, and then that makes something else happen, and that makes something else hit something else, which makes something else do something else to another thing, and then there's a string that gets pulled, and then something else hits something else, and it's a whole series of events. This is an example here of a Rube Goldberg cartoon um, that he calls the orange squeezing machine. And it walks you through step by step by step by step how we go from starting off with the milkman taking an empty milk bottle to squeezing an orange and all the different things it takes and the dangerous activities that are involved in squeezing an orange. And so, to that end, this week I'm asking you to accomplish a simple task in a very complex way using everyday objects around you. I'd like you to take some inspiration from the internet. do some Googling on Rube Goldberg machines, learn a little bit about what makes them up, how they're done, what they look like, how they work. And then I have two stipulations for you. One, ask before using something that's not yours. If you're in your home or someone else's home, please don't take something that's not yours to use for your Rube Goldberg machine. I'm not about to get in trouble for you doing something you shouldn't be doing. And number two, if you watch some of these videos, some of them are a little rough on the objects that are being used in them. Please don't damage or break anything in your quest to complete this week's activity. You may choose one of two simple tasks to complete this week. Either close a door or turn the lights off. I'm asking you to pick one of those two things and create a Rube Goldberg machine that can complete either closing a door or turning the lights off. I give you a link here to simple instructions for preschoolers for how to create a Rube Goldberg machine. It's my hope that those will be helpful to you. They are helpful to preschoolers. You will fail many times before getting this right. Please video every attempt because you never know when you get to the one that will actually be successful. Remember, our motto is fail often to succeed sooner. If you're not in the mood to go running all over the place looking for random objects, I'd like you to go to tinkercad.com and sign in with your Hack12 email. I'd like you to go to either the code block section or the circuit section and follow through the lessons there. I'm going to show you what those look like in a moment. And I want you to create something new that you think would be useful, an object that you think would be a useful object that you could use around your house. Use the share features included, and I'll show you what they look like, to post what you've created to our weekly discussion board. This is an activity we're building on. If you choose this one, I'm thinking that you'll use these skills again in your future weeks to build more things. Let me show you what Tinkercad looks like. If we go to Tinkercad, and let me sign out here so I can show you how to log into it. If you click sign in, it's going to ask you to sign in with Google. When you click that, if you're already logged into your Google account, it'll just log you in. If you're not, it'll ask you for your Hack12 login. On the left over here, you can choose 3D designs where you can actually create things in 3D modeling, but I'm going to ask you to select circuits or code blocks. If we select circuits and try circuits, it'll take us to an interface here where we can create circuits. It'll show you over here, start simulating. I encourage you to go through and learn how this works and try all the different things out here first and see what that's like. It's going to walk you through step by step by step how these different things work. So please go through all of this first to see what it's like. But I want you to see over here, there are a great many components involved that you can use in this circuits component. They even have an Arduino, and there's a lot that you can do in Tinkercad to simulate different things. You can even insert code into your thing that you're making. So I encourage you to mess around here and work in this code interface and create something that's new, something you think would be useful. And then when you go to share over here, you get a snapshot of your design. Show us what it is and explain to us what it does, because we're not going to get to see it in action necessarily. It's just going to download a picture. So explain to us what it does. If you created some code, share your code with us and show us what you've done. If I come back here and go to code blocks is creating 3D objects using block coding. I encourage you to go through the activities and the startup designs over here to understand how code blocks works to make something. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't have time, and also use the quick start guide here to see the basics of how code blocks functions. I'm just going to make a new design. On the right hand side is what you've been making and how it works. And on the left hand side is the code that you're making. So we have blocks for different objects, code for modifying, control, math, and data. So let's go ahead and make a box. Let's say we want the box to have a width of 40, length of 35, and we want it to be blue. And we're going to have that be a new object called object zoo. Let's call it object 1. And After that, we are going to add a cylinder. I'm going to make it a hole. I'm going to make its radius 5 and its height 10. And we're going to repeat that 2 times. Let's see what happens. It did it 2 times and it put it inside each other. So let's go ahead and move it. Move afterwards. 35 and 35. There. Moves our hole out to there so we can see it. So I encourage you to play with this and see what types of things you can create, what it takes to move different things around. For example, if instead of move, let's make this bigger. Let's make its height be 35. If I take my move command, bottom here, and I do 35, what happens then? It moves them both. So learn how this works and use it to build something interesting and useful. Again, go to share, and down here you'll get an animated GIF. I encourage you to get an animated GIF and package it up. You get a download, and then show us what you've made. Post that over here in our discussion board. All right, guys, I'm excited to see what you make this week. I'm excited to see what you've learned, and I'm excited to see how you use it. We'll see you again next week.